So, John, we've just had a little look at the new stadium. It is looking terrific, probably helped by the fact it's bathed in sunshine today.
Indeed.
But it's looking splendid.
It's amazing. And new offices as well.
Yes.
So we were historically based at Griffin Park. And as we grew as a business, we took on other sites. We've got our sales centre down at Heritage Walk. Our comms team are based down at Jersey Road. But one of the things was important to me was to get everybody together, and we've got them all together now at 27 Great West Road.
And you can keep an eye on what's going on at the new stadium, because that view is terrific from this sixth floor of your new offices.
Indeed, we've got an amazing projects team that are keeping a close eye on what's happening. Clearly, everyone's really excited, so lots of questions being asked about the new stadium. But we're absolutely delighted with its progress.
Well, I was going to ask, how happy are you with the progress? Are you on schedule?
All on schedule. So first competitive games in the new stadium for the start of next season. Looking to announce towards the end of February a series of test events that we have to do. So we'll be looking for the support of our fans to come and try out the new facilities, which is really important to get them familiar with their new environment. And then looking at an opening game prior to the start of next season.
And are you thinking of a big name team for that?
Well, Brentford, of course, they'll be playing.
That's a good start.
Yeah, of course, we're talking to a couple of Premier League clubs at the moment, and we're confident that someone wants to play an important part in such an important opening ceremony for the football club. So. Yeah, I don't think the opposition will be too difficult.
You mentioned the fans. Obviously, we've been at Griffin Park. I am a fan, so I can say that. We've been at Griffin Park.
As am I.
As you are, John. I've been a fan for a number of years. We've been at Griffin Park for over 100 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a change for a lot of fans, but they are all buying into this new stadium.
Yeah, of course. There won't be a dry eye in the house, as we all know, when we leave Griffin Park. It holds so many memories for fans and families, joyous occasions, sad occasions, so it will be a real wrench to leave. But I think everybody that's involved with the football club, be they staff, players, supporters, I think everyone's really excited about the new stadium. It's been talked about for best part of, I'd say, 35, 40 years. Yeah. At one stage we were on the move to Western International Market by Heathrow Airport, but we've ended up in an area that's less than a mile from our current stadium, really in the heart of the community. Railway lines on all three sides of the stadium. So it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is incredible that you've been able to find a location so close to Griffin Park. It won't feel much different in some ways for fans on their daily commute to Griffin Park. No,
I think clearly we're not going to have the pub on every corner. That's
going to be a letdown.
Indeed. So, but there lies an opportunity for us as a club. I've said on a number of occasions, our fans are the most adept fans in the world at getting into a stadium at 2 minutes to 3 on a Saturday, because they know full well that when they get in there, trying to get a beer, trying to get a burger is really tough. But obviously we now have an opportunity to get people into our new stadium much earlier, therefore trying to drive a little bit more of our match day revenue, but also trying to create that atmosphere where people can come together, and celebrate before a game as well as during the game.
You've talked about happy memories at Griffin Park, and I'll come to that in just a moment. But some might be asking, well, why? Why are Brentford moving from Griffin Park, which is at times a real fortress?
Yeah, look, and that's really been important to us this season and in previous seasons. But clearly, as we strive to improve on the pitch, we have to grow our revenues off the pitch. They come hand in hand, and the more revenue that we can generate from commercial activities, from match day revenues, all gets ploughed back into the playing department. And as everybody knows, the finances of football are really, really tough. We can't be just reliant on our owner and player trading. We have to take ourselves out of the relegation zone from a commercial revenue perspective into a top tier championship club and hopefully beyond that.
Well, when you look at the table, Brentford are certainly one of the top teams with how things are going. You must be delighted with how the season's going. That must be helping sales, let's say, for the new stadium as well.
Yeah, of course it does. And, I think we're absolutely delighted with where the team are. Some huge fixtures fast approaching, but then all eyes on back at Griffin Park for our clash against Nottingham Forest. So, listen, the team are performing brilliantly, as are our fans. They've really risen to the occasion. They're right behind the boys, both home and away. We've had some incredible away attendances this season. We had a great day at Queen's Park Rangers when we had a good win there. So closely fought West London derby. The fans were magnificent, and attendance is now through to the end of our time at Griffin Park. I can't see, dropping off in any way, shape or form. So really, really good.
Tell me then your memories of Griffin Park as we have 4 months left of football there?
Oh dear, so many. I suppose the first occasions when you go there, my nan and granddad had a pub in Hamworth called the Oxford Arms. And Grandad used to have a coach that used to do a little journey down to Griffin Park. So I remember, being handed over the turnstiles, something that I obviously would not appeal to me these days, of course. But passed over the turnstiles for those first games. So yeah, some great occasions, some amazing days. When Trotter hit the crossbar.
Oh, no. I can't believe you brought up the Doncaster game.
I know. Well, you have to, don't you? Great FA Cup ties, the games against Chelsea that we've had. It's full of great memories.
Yeah, and for you, it will be personally an emotional day come that first weekend in May, the final game against Barnsley.
Yeah, desperately sad, but... we're all drive past the new stadium on the way there, so we know what the future has in hold for us. But it's Saturday afternoons at Griffin Park are times that I've shared with family and friends, and some aren't still with us, and you will be emotional about that. And but I think we're going to give Griffin Park the right send off it deserves, and. Hopefully, you never know whether that will be our last game. So it might be a matter of a playoff the week later.
True. Well, I was going for automatic, John. But anyway.
Right.
Obviously, there have been very happy memories for me at Griffin, but a lot of sad times too, because there's been a lot of lows, it has to be said. But right now, we really are enjoying what we're seeing on the pitch for Brentford. Thomas Frank, this season, it didn't start off particularly very well for Brentford. But he's managed to turn things around, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think...
and in great fashion as well.
I think, Thomas would be the first to say that it didn't go according to plan at the front end. But, there is a tremendous togetherness down at that training ground. He's got an incredible support team around him. We knew that we were actually playing well, but we weren't getting the rub of the green. And, I think people trusted in the processes that we were putting in place. They knew that we had a lot of new players that had to bed in, and that takes a little bit of time. And, as time went on, the team got more confident, and, here we are today, fourth in the league. So all credit to Thomas and the team, the directors of football, all of the staff at Jersey Road. They're in a really good place.
You mentioned new players that came in the summer. I think it was 10 new faces. So that was quite a lot that had to bed in a very short space of time. So perhaps understandable that the team didn't get off to the best of starts in terms of results. But as you were saying, we didn't quite get the rub of the green. I think the Birmingham game, the first game of the season, was quite unbelievable how we didn't win that one. But as it is, BMW, our front three, fantastic front three, probably the envy of many teams in the Championship.
Yeah, and there's a group of players that are really together, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can see that they're thoroughly enjoying playing with each other. They're hugely successful at the moment. They're sharing the goals amongst themselves, and they're just a joy to watch. Our movement going forward is second to none in that league. And we're delighted to have them all.
Yeah, and by BMW, I'm obviously talking about Benrahma, Mbermo and Watkins, the front three for Brentford. So where it's all going well up top for Brentford, it's also going well at the back. We have the best defensive record, and in part, you could put that down to the experience of Mr. Janssen, who came in from Leeds.
Yeah, I think Pontus has been outstanding. As has Ethan Pinnock and Julien Janvier. David in goal has been, a real bonus this year. But as have the guys that were here prior to their arrival. I think there's a real harmony amongst the group. Everybody knows what their role and responsibility is, and they're thriving in the environment. So I think the keeper's been outstanding. The defence are the meanest in the league. The midfield have done incredibly well because they're supplying the chances for the BMW at the top of the park. So everybody's pulling in the right direction.
The one thing I love about Griffin Park is the intimacy of it. You do feel like you're right on top of the action when you're sat in the stands. I sit in Braemar Road, for example, so I really feel like I'm part of it. And a lot of fans will wonder, will we be able to replicate that in the new stadium?
I know you sit in the Braemar Road because when we're not doing so well, you glare across. But
only rightly so,
yeah,
John.
Quite right too. Listen, will we be able to replicate the environment and the atmosphere? That is everything that we're striving to do. One of our core business objectives here is the seamless move from Griffin Park to the new stadium. And what will be key to that is getting the right people in the right places in the new stadium. So our west stand in the new ground, we want it to be the Ealing Road of the new stadium. So that's all about ensuring that our more vociferous supporters are all together, because that will create the atmosphere, and that is absolutely key to everything we're doing. And that's why. At one stage, we were looking at doing all of the season ticket renewals online. It probably would have been the most efficient way of getting a high volume of tickets sold. But what we actually decided to do was, we give people that want to buy premium seats an experience at the sales centre. They can come down, choose their seats, look at the seat view through VR goggles. So we said we'd do the same for the fans. So we've embarked on a pretty ambitious task of getting through all of the season ticket holders at the sales centre. They've been fantastic in the way that they've adopted it, and they've kept to their appointment times. We're getting fans through. I think we see the sales centre for season ticket holders has only been open 10 days, and we've just gone through 2,500 tickets. So, that's. It's created a real occasion for the fans to start their journey on the road to being a fan at the new stadium, and I think that was really, really important.
It sounds like there's a real buzz and excitement, which is expected, I suppose, of a new stadium. Part of the reason I mentioned the new stadium once again is I don't know if you heard what Arsene Wenger had to say about Arsenal when they moved from Highbury to the Emirates. He felt like they lost their soul when they left because they added 20,000 more seats. It didn't have the same atmosphere. There will be some concerns from fans that could be the same for Brentford. How can we reassure them that might not be the same situation for Brentford?
Look, we're going into a new environment. We don't know how people are going to react in that new environment. All we can do is control the controllables and make sure that we're getting the right people into the right areas of the ground. I don't think it's not the walls or the pitch or the seats or the colour of the seats that make a stadium. It's the people, and we've got to make sure that we make sure that everybody feels comfortable in that new environment. And we've got to make sure that if you've been sitting in the Braemar Road next to Bill and Julia and Simon for the last 10 years, that you can sit next to them in the new stadium, because that's part of our DNA. That's really important to us as a football club.
In the times that you've been supporting Brentford, how much is it? I'll say that again, shall I? How much has it transformed?
I I think it's unrecognisable in certain ways. I think it's still the same Brentford in many other ways. I think I think we have an incredible supporter base that are very, very loyal. I think it truly is a family environment, and I think lots of sports organisations preach that, but I think we really do practice it. So I don't think that's changed, but clearly one example I always give, when I used to come down here as a kid, the ball used to go over the New Road stand, I'd say 3 to 4 times a match. And now, if the ball is hoofed over the stands, there is a massive intake of breath and people are aghast at it. So, look, the quality of the football that we're playing now is amazing. I think the playing surface that we're playing on now is completely different to the playing surface that you would have seen even 10 years ago in clubs outside of the Premier League. So lots of changes, but I think the thing that really matters, I think our DNA hasn't changed.
Yeah. Just lastly, we were looking at the stadium before talking right now, as we are, and you were talking me through all the different levels and what I could see in front of me, and you were talking about this is Premier League compliant, this is Premier League compliant, this is Premier League compliant. So the stadium is Premier League ready.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, is the team going to be Premier League ready?
Look, control the balls.
Here we go again.
My job here is to make the off-field part of Brentford Football Club Premier League ready. And I know Phil and Raz, the two co-directors of football, Matthew, the owner, Thomas and all of the team at Jersey Road are working tirelessly to get that team ready for the Premier League. So, look, there's never been a better time to be a Brentford fan. And I just think we're all absolutely delighted with what's happening on the pitch. I hope the fans are enjoying what's happening off the pitch. But yeah, we're in a good place.
Jon, thank you very much.
Thank you.